Hello, I'm Paul Jennings, and this is the PlayCajon Podcast, conversations with drummers and percussionists from around the world. So not only am I so excited that this is episode 1 of the PlayCajon Podcast, but I am even more excited that my guest today is Heidi Joubert. Heidi is literally taking the cajon world by storm at the moment. She is a singer, a percussionist, and really a master on the cajon. She has an incredible YouTube channel that is massive and has over 40,000 subscribers. Her website, cajonbox.com, is where you can find her lessons, her videos, her workshops, and much more. She even has her own brand of cajon called the Cruise Cajon, which is a fantastic flamenco-style cajon. Her story is even more inspiring. She literally learned how to play by spending hours busking on the streets of London with her band Fernando's Kitchen. She has a new DVD that she's working on, which features her unique style of playing and how she teaches the cajon, and that's coming out next year. I'm so excited, not only because she has achieved all of these great things and she has so much to talk about, but she's also an incredibly inspiring person to listen to. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Heidi, I'm so delighted to have you on the PlayCajon podcast. It's really incredible because not only are you a fantastic teacher, a fantastic player, but we both have quite a similar path, so it's really cool to have this conversation with you today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. London's wonderful. It's not raining today, so things look up and bright.
Yeah, that's
Lots
good.
of work, a shitload of work, excuse my language.
Sorry.
So am I allowed to swear in this? Not really.
Yeah, if you'd like to. I mean, it's this is your conversation, so however you would like to put forward your opinions is completely okay with me.
I'll keep it to a minimum then.
Yeah, it's it's cool. Like me and you, I guess we've had very similar. As I said, we've had like a similar trajectory, with like the YouTube lessons and stuff. And it's cool because this is literally the first time we've really spoken to each other ever in person.
Yeah, that's true. It's good. I can't believe it. How many years? It's been about 4-5 years that we've known about each other.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm excited to have this. But let's get into it. I read, your bio and stuff, and I guess you and me both came from kind of an unconventional cajon background, but how did you get into the cajon or percussion, but specifically the cajon, I guess?
Yeah, it's a bit of a crazy story. I used to play a bit of drum kit in high school. I actually went to like a kind of rock school course for my last years of high school, so I'm not very well educated, mind my English, but that's just a joke, by the way. Actually, it's not a joke. Take it as you like. And when I was 18, 1 week before I turned 18, I moved over to London, and I sold off my drum kit before I moved. My parents immigrated, so I moved over with them just before I turned 18. Then when I got here, I started busking to kind of help the family make money and survive here. And I was basically singing or playing saxophone on the street. And I started teaming up with a Spanish flamenco guitarist who we were doing like duets and stuff. And so I did a year of busking every day, and I got a lot of pain on my vocal cords. And eventually he kind of told me, well, why don't you just try the cajon? And he told me about the cajon, and I was like, well, what is this thing? So he bought me a cajon from Spain. This is Sebastian Diaz. And, basically I just had to start busking on it right away without knowing anything about it, without ever having actually known about this instrument. I actually laughed at him when he first told me it's like a box, and it's kind of similar to a drum kit. If you got your bass drum and your snare drum all in one box and you sit on it. I remember the day he told me that before he bought me one. I actually laughed and I thought he was joking. He's like, no, you're serious. I said, dude, I really have to check that out. And he just bought me one of the cajons from Spain, and we immediately started busking and doing gigs on it. So what I did is I practically just applied my drum kit knowledge onto the cajon, as well as I've been listening. By this stage, I've been listening to a lot of flamenco music and learning all the claps, the palmas, the different feels, the different time signatures, how we count it. So I also utilized a little bit of that knowledge, especially from the claps, the palmas of the flamenco, which is originally the original percussion of flamenco music before the cajon came along.
Right.
And I just applied those rhythms onto the cajon, and it was just really a trial and error process. But that's how I got into the cajon. Cool enough.
That's a great story. I love it. So did you find that when because I know it was like this for me, when I discovered the cajon, I was like, whoa, this thing is like, this thing just not just sound like I was like instantly good at it, but it just felt like the right instrument. It just worked with what I guess I was trying to do.
Yeah, it was very natural, which was very strange because, I mean, the first time he mentioned this to me, I really laughed and I thought, that's ridiculous. I never heard of such a thing and that's not possible.
Yeah.
And when it came, I mean, the first day I got it and I tried it, it was just, I mean, I already just put down a basic funky groove on it, just utilizing the knowledge of the drum kit. It was just so easy.
Yeah.
And so portable and so small and so much fun. So, yeah, it was pretty much like, yes, I mean, this was really what I was meant to play. It's just really strange, but it just was really natural, yes.
That's cool. And you can really tell that in your playing. I mean, I've only ever seen you on YouTube on videos, but it looks like a very natural thing for you. So that definitely comes across.
Mm.
And yeah, what about your how did the YouTube thing kind of happen for you? Because that really exploded, and what made you kind of decide, I'm gonna put some stuff out there and maybe teach some lessons online?
That's a really good question, and I actually like to answer this one.
Cool.
Well, because I just got the cajon, I didn't know anything about it, and there was nobody teaching or playing the cajon in London when I started. That was about 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was not into YouTube or internet yet either. I mean, everything was still kind of starting there. And so I basically had to figure it out myself by just trial and error, playing a lot on the street, literally being thrown into the deep end with this box and just having to do something with it. And then, of course, spending hours at home working on okay, how does this thing work? How do I get the best sound out? What kind of tech? I kind of had to develop my own method for it. And I think when I started feeling more confident with it, I remember when I filmed my first one, which is it's just me with my bed is in the background. I'm not even showing my face. It's not even pro. So I never initially started and said, oh, I'm just going to start a YouTube channel. I mean, I literally just found out about YouTube.
Right.
And I saw some videos and I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to share a video for somebody who might be in the same position as I am, which is now obviously improving because of people like you and me that are doing things, and lots of other guys also and women teaching on the cajon and giving out lessons, and just there's a lot more awareness of it. But at that stage, it was pretty vague. And I just kind of did it for myself, and in a way like to put down something like, okay, this is what I figured out from myself. It's my own work without anyone teaching me anything. And I'd like to actually share this with somebody who probably finds themselves in the same situation as I have. There's not really any material out there. So I just did it to share, really. I didn't think much about it. I think after about the 4th video, it started getting, I just started getting a lot of views.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay. And then obviously as it went, the idea of actually being more formal with my approach of teaching, obviously seeing that people are enjoying my lessons, people are learning from it. It's just like, okay, there is this demand. I just kind of had no choice as a person who loves to teach people and just kind of share the knowledge that I had to like go through tough time learning myself. Just thought, well, I'll just keep putting videos up, and that's kind of how it happened.
That's
it was
so
just
cool.
totally unplanned, so it was just crazy. I mean, like now it's it's just going out of the window. But I mean, I just initially started because I wanted to share some of my basic ideas, things I didn't have when I started playing.
So you literally, it was the same for me, but on you literally had you were just like, I'm going to do this and we'll see what happens. We'll share some ideas, and then boom, you were getting hundreds of thousands of views, and you were like, oh, okay, hold on a minute. This is going somewhere. People are into this. So that's cool.
Exactly. I didn't even think about getting views or any such. In fact, I wasn't really even aware of YouTube, really, how it works, what's the importance thereof. Obviously, I mean, I just thought, okay, I'm just going to film a little video and somebody might be able to learn something from this. That was totally not even on my mind. It's interesting how sometimes you can just do an idea because you're passionate about something with the right motivation. And it's kind of like you just, like if you give, you will get, in a way. And it's just like 6 months later, I just realized, well, slowly the idea dawned on me that, okay, well, you should be doing this a bit more regularly, adding up a bit more formalized. Now let's do it properly. People are enjoying it. And then only from then on, I started kind of realizing, oh, okay, I'm getting views. I can't believe this. People are commenting, they're liking it. I mean, I didn't think that would happen when I first put up a video. It was really just purely for myself and for anyone who wanted to learn something. So that's pretty cool. I do like the way it kind of played out in that sense.
And I think you hit on a good point there about, producing content. The best way and is by far the honest way, I myself will be the first to admit, a couple of years ago, I made a few videos that were because I thought, oh, this will be a hit, loads of people are going to watch this, and that was kind of my momentum for making those videos. And I soon learned that that's just the wrong approach. If you're going to make a video or content, it has to be because you're passionate about that content, and that is the content that people will want to see. And I think you're right there.
Yeah, I think that applies to everything in life, right? If you want it successfully, you really should do it with your passion, with the right intentions behind it.
Yeah, you're right on there. That's cool. And sometimes you have to kind of go the long way around to discover that. So that's great. Yeah. Well, what a fascinating story already. This is cool. I wanted to ask you about your cajon, because you've had the cruise cajon, your signature cajon, out for a number of years now. That's such a fantastic thing to have. Tell us about how you ended up getting that signature cruise cajon going.
Okay. This is also another interesting story. Before I put up any videos on YouTube, I was kind of actively playing every day for approximately between 2 to 6 hours a day on the streets of London or in the underground, busking, doing gigs and shows, and also teaching small groups, very small groups when I just started. This was probably about, I would say, the 4th year that I was playing, or the 3rd year, when I really started getting a bit more serious about it and studying it, and okay, now I really want to get this down. I'm more comfy with it. I can do these grooves now. I really want to get something out there also for myself. And I wrote to a company whose cajon I was playing at that stage, called PRK, who was making some of the finest cajons in Spain, Flamenco cajons. I bought one of their cajons brand new. So that was the 3rd cajon, or the second cajon that I actually bought. And at a stage I wrote them an email and said, hey guys, how you guys doing? I'm playing your cajon in London. Nobody's really playing cajon. It's pretty cool. People are seeing it. And I wonder if you guys want to endorse me. Basically just give me some free cajons, or give me a free cajon every 3 years or something like that. Yeah. I didn't get any reply. And then, funny enough, this is all linked with my YouTube channel, which was all totally unintentional. So I told you that there was a point where I started noticing, okay, that people are actually watching my videos and enjoying it. And I started adding up more. And then only then I did start realizing, okay, this is something that, I could actually be more busy with, not just like, okay, let's put up 1 or 2 little videos. And PRK themselves, I used their cajon for my first few videos, because that was the cajon I had. they commented on one of the videos that got a lot of views and said, really cool, you know, we like it on YouTube. And I saw the comment and immediately I wrote back to them. I said, okay, guys, so when are we talking about endorsement now?
I like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they kind of endorsed me. They sent me 2 of their finest cajons, kind of just like that without me meeting them or anything.
Yeah.
And everything went well. So I said, okay, well, let's take this a bit further. I really like your cajons. You guys are not stocked in the UK. I've got students who's interested in buying, and also people asking online about the cajon I'm playing on my videos. As you know, there's a lot of cajons out there. Some of them are great, some of them are not so great. And obviously, because there's not really this big infrastructure yet about the cajon online, which is getting there now, which I'm really happy about. You have a lot of people asking you what cajon they should buy, what sound you should go for. So obviously you want to give them good advice or give them a good option. So that's when I thought of the idea of, well, guys, why don't you let me also basically work as an agent for you guys, for your company? And I'll take a commission off each sale, and I will be promoting PRK. I'll put it on my website. I will sell it to my students. You guys send it to me here, and I'll sell online as well. And it was really good.
Yeah.
It went pretty well. It went to the point where they eventually made a kind of special cajon for me. Sadly, the manufacturer of PRK, the artisan, passed away.
Right.
So I had to then obviously change company. I had all these people writing to me. They wanted to buy PRK cajons. You kind of have this responsibility there on your shoulders, and you're like, oh, but they're not making it anymore. But I still need to kind of be able to recommend a cajon to people, a good cajon. And I recall when I first bought my cajon, I had no idea what to buy, what to listen to, I wished somebody was there to tell me, yeah, get this cajon, this is the best one. In fact, the reason I went with PRK is because most of the big cajon players, including Piranha, which is one of the big boys in Spain doing the flamenco, the master really, was playing PRK at that stage, which is why I went into PRK. So when sadly the artisan passed away, I kind of said, well, I'm going to find another artisan in Spain so that I can also still recommend these cajons to people. And I also decided, well, why don't I just do my own line? I've got a bit of a longer business plan with my cajons than is currently visible to the eye at the moment. Mm-hmm. Something I'm not so sure I want to disclose too much information about, but having said that,
That's okay, because that'll build the hype. There's a secret.
Yes, there is a 10-year business plan in about 10 years. I mean, it's got a lot to do with starting up a community social enterprise project. Cool. Where we get people in third world countries who don't have so much work or anything, where we train them to make it with hands. And it'll be a lot about the eco-friendly, sustainable wood, handmade cajons, and then all the profit goes back into the community, into educating the people, giving them, obviously feeding them, helping them to go into further education, their kids as well, for business and music. So,
wow. That is so cool. That's incredible. Like you literally just blew my mind. I think that's the most incredible thing I've heard from the cajon manufacturing world yet. That is brilliant. And if there's anything I can do to help you get the word out when you get that rolling, let me know, because that is so cool.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, man. It's easy to talk. To do is going to be another story. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of capital, a lot of experience, and a lot of time. But it's on the way. That's kind of why I decided, okay, instead of just still working because I knew by this stage that I was already doing good. People were buying the cajons from me. I was making a commission off of it. It was all fine, but I just thought, well, I've always had this vision growing up in South Africa, especially being a young girl when the apartheid was still on. I always told myself, well, one day when I can generate money, I'm going to help these people that don't have work, that are basically disadvantaged. So it's been a passion of mine since ever.
I love it. I love that you came from South Africa you grew up there. You grew up there in apartheid, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, for the first few years of my life, I think when I was 7, so it was 1994 that apartheid was abolished. So I mean, the first few years of my life, I did see that, and I did not like it. For me, that was my biggest passion when I was a kid. I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to help it. Also, growing up in a family when we were young, we were not very well off.
Yeah,
I do recall sometimes being hungry.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Go on. I just was going to say I just love the story behind it, that you came from that, and now it's always been your intention to give back to where you came from, so, and now you found your way to do that.
I kind of saw that, well, okay, it's possible. I'm actually able to generate money from these. And I think it's a fantastic idea. Why not utilize these to basically bring about my big plan that I've always wanted to do? Obviously, that's been there in my mind, which is basically why I started my own brand. Another reason, obviously, as well, is because I did find that some, obviously you're promoting a product that's in all the stores that you still don't get the same return. You're only getting the commission upon the actual ones that you are selling.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like, I thought, well, if I start this business now and I can grow it nicely, and then utilize all the profits that goes from this business into building it even bigger, to the point that hopefully within 10 years I should be able to go and set this up. Speaking of which, this year I actually did buy a piece of land up in South Africa, up in the indigenous rainforest, which is hopefully where I want to start this. So it's kind of on the rolling process, but it's going to take time.
This is cool. Well, I mean, just the idea of it, I think we all know that the Cajon is going to be a good quality Cajon, but just the idea of the everything behind it makes me want to buy one already. So, and I have a few Cajons around me, but I will buy one when they come out. I mean, there's
that's
no question.
Thing. It's also to promote this thing of, like, local businesses or businesses that actually goes into helping other people, for instance, or things that are sustainable and eco. Obviously, there's this whole new movement of that too, and it just kind of works out at the right time, at the right place. I don't know how that all works, but God kind of works it all out, so it's cool. And so that was my idea, and that's kind of how I started my brand. Anyway, getting back to the whole story.
Yeah, sorry, you blew my mind.
No,
we had to go down that.
But that's just to explain to you why because initially I just thought, well, I could just sell these guys Cajons because I think they're great. There's the stuff that's in the stores here are not compared to these guys, and people are asking me, what Cajon are you playing? And I just thought, well, okay, let's give them a really good Cajon that I would personally recommend, that I personally love and play.
And this is back to the PRK.
Yes, exactly. And then, and then when the artisan passed away, I kind of had the choice of, like, continuing working with other brands, because at this stage I've already had a few brands already writing to me asking to either endorse me or work with me. But then I thought, well, no, this is the perfect opportunity for me to start up this business, which could eventually help me to do the big passion that I want to do. So you start years before, but it's the way it works if you want to do something big and booming, right? And so I just kind of wrote to a few. I went to go see a few artisans and try out their brands, and we were developing stuff, and I found a really great artisan who I won't be disclosing over here, but they're amazing. We've worked together. We've developed a specific sound from what I want. And it's just been rolling. I mean, it's tough doing a startup business on your own. Yes. I mean, I'm running this literally single-handedly. I've got a few people helping me now and then, but it's literally single-handedly. And at the same time, I'm still doing music and teaching and various other little music jobs and things. So
you're doing what you have to do to survive, but you've got this huge thing that is consuming your passion. No, so for the last 4 years I've been establishing, I think 3 years or 4 years, I've been establishing this brand of mine now, and slowly but surely as the time has allowed me. And the next big step for Cruz Cajon is basically to get it distributed. I'm already talking to a few distributors. It's just a matter of literally how much time do I have available to actually spend upon this specific section in my life at this moment.
But yeah, it's just a matter of time. So the plans are basically to get some major distribution in 2016, which would probably take a bit of work off of my back, and then also grow the brand even further in order to get to the point where I'm able to take, say, 3 months, 6 months, go up to my piece of land in Africa. And I've got a few people there that do carpentry and work with them. And we develop our own cajon just the way we like it, kind of utilizing the same sound and the same construction method we're using for my current cajons, because I'm really happy with them.
Yeah.
And then just slowly but surely going from there. But that's in the pipeline.
That's wonderful, Heidi. I can't wait to see how that develops.
Thanks, man.
Can you just briefly tell us a little bit about how your cruise cajon is made, like the wood and what kind of snare? Is it strings, or how is it put together?
Yeah, it's they're handmade in Córdoba in Spain, which is like an area in Spain which is very flamenco.
Yeah.
I specifically went for the flamenco, specifically was looking for authentic flamenco cajons, just because there's a lot of other stuff coming out now, but I still really like an authentic, good, handmade sound for the cajon, acoustic sound. And it's, well, the wood we use is finest Russian birch wood. And it's we utilize guitar strings, so no snares at this moment.
Yep.
We might be looking into adding some new models with snares and different sounds. But as I said, obviously it also all depends upon how much time I have for that. And yes, it has an extremely special tuning system, like very easy, so you don't even need the Allen key. It's kind of got a little knob.
Oh, on the back there, yeah.
Yes, and yeah, they're just amazing. You have to see them and try them and touch them to really understand them. But yeah, literally, it's got 2 strings on the inside folded twice, so 4 strings, really, 4 ropes, 4 guitar strings. It's got a fantastic booming bass, really, really amazing. The sound hole is situated a bit lower in the back than the middle. There's a few that's done in the middle. I don't build them myself, although I have spent time developing them and with the artisan, and I obviously have to know a little bit more about just what difference does it make, how many screws we put on the front plate, how thick the front plate is, all these things.
Yeah.
But I won't bore you guys to go into all of these details. But yeah, they're pretty much amazing flamenco cajons with an amazing separation between the bass and the snares, and that's it.
Cool, man. And that's it. And I like it because one thing, I mean, I've never tried one of your cajons, and I cannot wait to do so because I know it's going to be good and I know they sound good. But the birch, every time I play a cajon, particularly a flamenco cajon that's made out of birch, I think it just works.
Yeah. The birch is amazing. Yeah, we use a specific birch from Russia. So sometimes it takes some time to get the orders in, which could sometimes delay some things, but it's well worth it. We just use a very, very special, finest Russian birch wood, get it imported from Russia. So cool. It's pretty cool. The birch thing is quite important. So yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, good luck with that.
Thanks.
What about your inspirations? I wanted to ask you, who inspires you? What players, whether it's cajon, whether it's a musician, or whether it's, I don't know, just somebody in your life. What has inspired you with your music?
Oof.
That's a tough one, I suppose.
That is so vague.
Okay, all right. Let's narrow it down then. How about musicians?
Yeah, musicians. It's strange. I don't tend to necessarily have 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 idols that I idolize and then nobody else. I do like to utilize a little bit of everything from everyone in a way, and the same would go for the genres of music that I listen to. It's like the same kind of concept that, you don't always eat Chinese food. So sometimes you want to go have Chinese food, sometimes you want to go have pizza. Other times you want to go have some kebab, Turkish food. So I think in life, the beauty of it is the variety. And I think that it's important to realize that from every single person, no matter how smart or unsmart, if that's a nice way of putting it. You can learn something as long as you learn to separate the good from the bad. I do recall, however, I mean, I'm actually a singer. I've sang since I was a girl, so a little girl, since I can remember. The drums came a bit later. And then I was always a bit of a snob with percussion. I remember being a teenager and thinking, these silly percussionists with their hands and their little dugu dugu dugu, you know, like playing congas, you know, like so pansy kind of thing, you know, like, yeah, with a drum kit you've got the sticks, you can smash it, and you play rock and you play
that's so
stuff.
That's hilarious now you think back to that. And
no, I do. It is
now.
Hilarious. I mean, I remember thinking I don't want anything to do with percussion when I was doing the rock school. I was like, I'm a drummer, and one day I'm going to be a drummer and a singer for a rock Latin band. And it turns out that I'm totally into percussion now, and I still do a little bit of coordination and still play some kit, but generally I'm really into congas now, cajon, any percussion. So it's very interesting. But as a young girl, as a singer, I always obviously listened to great voices, which really inspired me. I was crazy about Celine Dion, with good reason. She's an amazing singer. She's basically perfect, like the way she sings. Nowadays, I don't listen to any of her stuff just because the style is just not really for me anymore. But having said,
I feel like Celine got a bad rap. You know, she has a great voice, and everyone just kind of gave her a bit of a bad rap for being cheesy or something. But I think you're right there.
Well, she did great. I think she did really good for herself. She's probably got a nice yacht somewhere, so it doesn't bother her that much. But but she's amazing as a singer and as a performer. And I remember as a little girl, I used to look up to her. Mariah Carey was one of the other ones. So these are all really poppy stuff that I've not actually, listened to for years. I've been a lot more into world music and jazz and funk and soul and lots of fusions and strange music these days. A lot of instrumental stuff, actually. Al Green is a fantastic singer. But when I were talking about... We're just literally talking about singers here.
Well, no, I like it though, because
or percussionists, but music is music, no?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, there's nothing wrong with being influenced by, somebody like Mariah Carey. If that's the catalyst that gets you, that turns your head or your ears and makes you go, whoa, I'm going to get into this. And then as you go through your life, you get into more specialist stuff and and it changes.
Exactly. So, big inspirations, I think, in terms of music or drums. I'm still getting there. Obviously, Giovanni Hidalgo, Piranha on the cajon. You've got Porina, which is also really good on the cajon. There's so many that I can mention. A bunch of guys that are really good friends of mine in Spain too, in Madrid. Jorge Perez, Guillermo Garcia. And also somebody who's really inspired me for the cajon playing especially, Paco de Lucia, Vincente Amigo. I listened to a lot of their albums, Jose Merce, Nino Josele, a lot of the amazing flamenco players. They have really helped me along. I mean, these guys are all musicians, they're not cajon players, but it's their music, it's their art, and their cajon players and the guys that was playing on their albums that I listen to, which also obviously helps you get the sound you want, get the right sound, figure out, okay, it needs to sound like this, I like that sound or I don't like that sound. And then a lot of jazz as well, Miles Davis, Bill Evans, Avishai Cohen. So these are my latest boys. Celine Dion, Mariah Carey is really long ago. Yeah. But I just had to add that because I just thought about it. They actually did play a really big role, especially in the area of the cajon. And most of them are pioneers in an area that has never been done before. Like Paco is the guy that broke open, Paco and Camarón are the guys that broke open the flamenco. They're responsible for all the fusion that's going along with flamenco. They're responsible for the fact that the flamenco cajon even is known or exists. I mean, it's from Paco's group, from one of his first albums that Ruben Dantes made the flamenco cajon famous. And since then, flamenco has adopted cajon as its percussion, which is why we play it today. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known about it probably, or in a different way. And then obviously, there's a lot of great Peruvian players, which I still have to go into. Hopefully next year I'll go into that. So Yeah. But I think personally for me, if I have to look at the last 10 years journey, like since I picked up the Cajon, the people that have inspired me the most and motivated me the most are not necessarily public figures, but it's the people that have played alongside me, the things I learned from them, and the things they learned from me, and the things I learned from what they learned from me. So I've got a few, especially the last year, I've been doing a lot of jams, playing with a lot of different musicians. And it's just amazing the kind of inspiration you feel after you've had a jam with someone who's just on another level. There's a really good cajon player here in London called Pablo Dominguez, where he's actually playing flamenco guitar with me in my new band. But he plays everything, and he's always inspired me. You know, we've done loads of gigs. I've done loads of gigs with him, and we've also done loads of gigs together with two separate bands. And so you'll always be in the backstage before waiting for the gig, you know, and we're just like jamming and sharing tips, knowledge and stuff. This was really in the last year. And yeah, so those are the people that have really inspired me. And I mean, in general, I mean, obviously this might sound quite cheesy, but I would say in general, over every part of my life, one person who's totally inspired me, and one of the reasons why I tend to not be afraid to think big and to go for the things, and also probably one of the reasons why I get many ideas I get as, I know it's going to sound really cheesy, but it's Jesus. He's always been, even if it's just the concept of it, but it's just that since a little girl, I've always been, you know, he's always been my best friend. I always know that he's always there for me. I don't need to worry about, you know, the fear of humanity kind of is a lot less.
That's cool.
If you have that encouragement that, like, yes, you can do it, and the sky's the limit, and kind of God created you to do, God created each of us to do unbelievable, unthinkable, creative things, because we're kind of supposedly made in the image of the Creator, so we're supposed to be creators too. So I think that really inspires me in every area of my life.
And that's wonderful. And I don't think you should be ashamed of your faith and what inspires you, whether it's your God or anything else. And you know, people can look at, you know, God in many different ways, and I think people should accept everybody's experience, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's cool.
Yeah, so that's probably the number one for me. I mean, that really, everything that I've done, just a lot of things, is just a lot of big doors have opened up. And also just the fact that I've had the actual guts. Sometimes I look back and I say, wow, I was just nobody, and I wrote to a company and said, why don't you endorse me? You know, I'm crazy. Like, why do I have this, you know, like, literally I've got balls, you know, and I'm like, I don't know why I have them, just because of that.
But that's exactly, I think people who get things done or like to get things done, they have an idea, and they figure out what they need to do to get to that point. And I get the feeling that you're definitely in that camp, and that's inspiring to many people.
No, thank you very much. It's very kind.
Yeah,
nice.
Well, it's serious. I mean, you're doing so many great things for the Cajon, and there's obviously the greater things that you have on your agenda to help humanity as a whole. So that's very inspiring.
Yeah.
I guess I always, this is also a bit of a cliche, but you know, it's something that people want to know. I think, and what advice would you give to people out there that are starting music or starting a business, or just, you know, they have a passion for something that they want to take to the next level?
I think the first advice, I think the number one thing that keeps us from reaching our goals is really the fear of man, the fear of rejection, the fear of not succeeding. Obviously, the fact that you wouldn't succeed wouldn't matter so much if it wasn't going to be seen by anyone else. Does that make sense? So inevitably, the fear of failure is actually a fear of failure in the eyes of men. And I think that it's, I mean, I've gone through a period. Now I'm 28, so 20s I think was really tough for me, because you have all these dreams and aspirations, and you're like, oh, everything's going to be perfect. What's wrong with people? Why don't they just have a perfect life? And then you learn, oh, it's not that easy when you're not in mama's house. Shit happens. It's just like that. And I think that it's important to realize that you shouldn't be so worried about what others think. And I think that we're not even conscious of how worried we are about it. I think you should be worried about what you think of yourself. It's kind of like you see yourself as two people if you have to. I know that sounds a bit crazy, but I've been doing that, especially this year, a lot. I've been spending a lot of time falling in love with myself. Spending a lot of time when somebody would write to me, would you come out and have a drink with us at the bar? I said, no, I've got a romantic dinner with a girl called Heidi tonight. And I'm serious. And I need to spend time with myself to always be able to look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm proud of you. You know, that, you know, you make me proud. So what you did there, the fact that you went for that, I don't mind what they're going to say. It's everyone's always looking outside. And I think it's so important to look inside and say, am I happy with what I'm doing? And is this really what I want to do? If it is, I'm willing to sacrifice anything in order to be in love with myself and to remain in love with myself, because I think it's so important. If we can't love ourselves, I don't think we can love anyone else. And how do we make a difference in the world without that? So I think that's probably the only thing I would say.
And I think that is brilliant advice. You know, if you can't love yourself, if you can't accept yourself, then how are you going to accept what you perceive other people thinking? And that's a huge stumbling block, you know? Yeah,
exactly. If you're happy with yourself, whatever anyone else says, you are the one who determines what's your opinion about yourself. Not, you don't determine your opinion about yourself through the other's eyes. And I think that's important. Yeah.
That's such great advice. So what next is happening for you? You've got all these classes going on, and the London Cajon School, the Cambridge Cajon School. Is there anything you have going on in the future that people can come and check out?
Oh, yes. A lot. Actually, too much. Can somebody come and help me?
Uh-oh.
Damn. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I've been developing my idea for a method for the cajon over the last 3-4 years, which is in conjunction kind of with my channel. It kind of grew with the idea of the channel. So I'm going to be filming a DVD, a range of videos, like a formalized method for the cajon as the way that I've developed it, basically the way I've developed it, my technique, my exercises, the way I think that people should play. Well, just my own personal experience putting it down. So I've been working on that and developing the whole thing. So that's going to be hopefully released in March 2016. And will be available from my website, the actual DVD, and also downloads of the video lessons. So this will be in basically more lessons than what I have on YouTube, just like a full-on course for people who are very interested in learning from me, because I have many people asking to take online lessons, for instance, or I should do more group classes, but I'm also doing a lot of work with different bands as well as my own new band. So there's many times that I physically can't be there. So I thought, well, let me then just compile the course in a DVD, and that just makes it kind of accessible to everyone at any time. So that's one of the big next things.
Well, that's super exciting.
Yes, that is very exciting. I've been working on that. I mean, I wanted to release it actually last year, but it's just been, like I say, I've got so much on my plate, so it's all about time allowing. However, this whole year I have been spending and working on the business plan. I've been working along with the Princess Trust, who have kind of given me support, which is like a charity program down here, just because I felt I needed... Because it's all really, how can I say it? It's all very independent. And it's not like I'm based in Spain and I know a bunch of people that, you know, like, I mean, I know the guys there, but I'm not based in Spain. I'm in London. So it's kind of like I'm struggling. I'm the one in the front struggling to kind of push and make the way forward. And I know there's a few small schools that have been asked me, like, could you kind of figure out a little course for us? And I just thought, well, if I've got this, then that's there. And who knows where it could go. So yeah, that's kind of going to be filmed in January, February, and released in March. It should have been released this year actually, but it's really rolling now.
Yeah.
And another thing is I've been playing with Fernando's Kitchen, which was my band for a number of years, 9 years, and sadly we all kind of the kitchen closed. We broke up a few months
Sorry,
ago.
I'm not, it's just, that was a good way of
You're laughing at that.
No, it was a good way of
the
putting
kitchen has closed.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's true. But I mean, it's been a great journey. I've learned so much from that band. I mean, it's with that group that I learned to play cajon, really. And also learn to play and sing at the same time, because I basically front the band on the cajon and singing. And it was fantastic. We did its tour last year in New York. But yeah, it was just the time to kind of move on and maybe work on some new things for everyone. So this year has been quite an exciting year. I've been working on a lot of new music. I write a lot of songs. And I'm working on my own new band with new songs, new stuff, which is a fusion of soul, funk, Latin jazz, flamenco, world music stuff. I mean, it's literally a big mix of all the musics that I've been specifically listening to and going into for the last 10 years. And that's been good. Actually, this past Saturday, we just did our first public ticketed event in London. And it was fantastic. It was absolutely amazing. So that's also a really big deal for me to kind of get my own band up and running again, because I kind of just lost it.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you've got enough on your plate.
Yes, that's a thing. And then there's another little thing coming up around the corner. I can't share too much about it, but it's got to do with another big company. Cool. Quite an exciting new venture coming out, which
is another top secret project.
Yeah, another top secret project, which should be launched in January. And I'm going to the NAMM. I'm going to all the trade shows next year.
I will see you there. We'll meet in person. I'm going to see you there.
I'm also doing the Cajon Festival in Peru. They've asked me to go and do some workshops there, and then the drum camp in London, in the UK. So I'm going to be doing a lot more bigger workshops. Like my Cajon school will still run. I probably would add a few more days to it, but I can't get too busy with it, as I would probably be traveling quite a bit next year, doing workshops and demonstrations, as well as obviously doing gigs with my band and getting my Cruz Cajon business distributed worldwide, which would also probably mean I'd need to travel places to do business meetings and go and meet distributors and things like that. So exciting.
Yeah, so you'll be wearing many hats. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, Heidi, thank you so much for chatting to me. That was a very inspiring conversation, great story, and I wish you the best of luck with everything you're doing in the future.
All right, thank you so much. I enjoyed talking to you, Paul, and I look forward to seeing you in January in California.
I know, that's going to be great. Maybe we
should do a video.
We should. Let's do that. Let's make that
we
happen. Should. Yeah. All right, take care.
Thanks so much. Cheers,
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Thanks for listening to the PlayCajon podcast. That was episode 1 with Heidi Joubert. Make sure that you check out her website, cajonbox.com. She has a Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe to her YouTube channel, which is Cajon School. And of course, make sure you check out all the future podcasts at playcajon.org and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Till next time, take care.